The 1985 AWA Clarion Rally of New Zealand opened with a beautiful Maori welcome for the competitors. The carnival atmosphere in Auckland and brilliant sunshine was added to with displays of parachuting and a jazz band. The leading contenders are in Auckland for this, the 7th round of the World Championship, sponsored by AWA Computers and Clarion. Peugeot and Audi are the major protagonists, locked in battle once more for the honour of top four-wheel drive team. Peugeot have Ari Vatanen and Timo Salonen in their 205 turbos, the team currently riding on the crest of a wave. We asked Ari how he was looking forward to the rally.
I suppose I'm quite anxious to just get it started. I mean, having been here for 2 weeks and having not finished the rally on 4 last previous occasions, I'm looking forward to this rally. I mean, it has got to change this time.
It's a few years since you've competed in New Zealand. How much have things changed in that time?
Well, 79 it was still a blind rally on that particular occasion, and of course in that time it was my honeymoon as well, and this time I haven't got a wife with me, so a little bit things are not just as well, but I mean otherwise they are very well.
Okay, Ari, all the very best. Thank you.
Stig Blomqvist up at number 1 after last year's rallying. The two leading contenders in conventional cars are Nissan and Toyota, leading the Nissan Challenge local driver Reg Cook and Safari driver Shaker Mata.
I think the Toyota will go quite well. I mean, Bjorn and Juha go particularly well here. It seems to be the sort of rally where the Scandinavians enjoy it, and they seem always to go very well. But if you're talking about the rest of us, I think, we'll be a long way back. But there should be quite a battle for the tourist class trophy.
That's how you see it, is it?
Yes.
The Toyota camp had 2 Celica turbos entered for Bjorn Voldegaard and Johan Katanen. Unfortunately, their problems begin even before the start.
Bjorn's got a change of co-drive, we noticed this morning. What's the problem?
Hasse has been ill. He was ill yesterday, and the doctor had a look at him this morning and decided that he shouldn't really take part in the rally. And we've got Michel Lezan now, who's stepped in at the last moment. He just announced to Bjorn in the car on the way up. He's never actually done a rally as a co-driver before, so
it should be exciting though.
It should be fairly exciting. The Swedish isn't exactly up to scratch either.
As the minutes tick away to the 10 o'clock start, Stig Blomqvist eases his Audi Quattro out for the first of 11 stages that were to take place north of Auckland during the first day. Following him, Ari Vatanen and Terry Harriman, who haven't finished a World Championship rally since the Swedish back in February. The second Works Quattro, number 3, was in the hands of Walter Ohl and Christian Geistorfer. Walter loves this event and did extremely well over the early stages last year, and it remains to be seen whether they can repeat the performance this year. Bjorn Voldegaard, complete with new co-driver Belgian Michael Leese, were next over the ramp. Whilst a past winner of the event, Voldegaard knows a win is only on the cards if the four-wheel drive brigade strike trouble. Timo Salonen and regular partner Seppel Haraway are at 5 and are considered to be pre-race favourites, and on current form with a win in the previous World Championship round, the Acropolis Rally. Making him the meat in a Toyota sandwich was Umar Kankinen and Fred Gallagher in the second of the Celica turbos. Last year their rally ended upside down in a ravine, so they were obviously hoping for better luck this year. Off at number 7 are Shaker and Yvonne Meta in a Works Nissan 240 RS. Behind them, fellow Kenyans Mike Kirkland and Mike Dante in the first of a horde of Group A Subarus chasing a hat-trick of Group A wins at this rally. All the way from Russia, the experienced Stanzos Gunza and Sergio Berfonti in the Works Lada. As the first few stages were tackled, a pattern began to emerge. Walter Ohl, like last year, moved into the lead with a string of fastest times. Chasing them hard and only seconds in the rear are the two Peugeots of Salonen and Vartanen, with the latter just having the early edge. With the Quattro popping and banging at an alarming rate, giving the assembled spectators concern that one of their favourites would fail to last the pace, Stig Blomqvist in second position. Shaker Mater was holding his position just inside the top 10, but with a wealth of experience behind him was in no hurry to overtax himself or the car at this stage. But what of Toyota? Kankerman was the best of the conventional cars and he lay in fifth position. For teammate Voldegaard, things had gone from bad to worse. First of all, his regular co-driver had fallen ill just before the start. Then on stage 2, his gearbox gave up. At the Toyota service point, while the service crew worked on Kankerman's car, a chase car collects a spare gearbox to make its way to the stage to make repairs.
Just keep coming towards us and I will go and explore something. Okay.
Special stage 5, 25 kilometres of fast gravel and roll was again fastest despite hitting a bank. Timo Salonen was over 20 seconds slower on the stage, but had now overtaken Blomqvist, who shows total aggression as he throws the Quattro through the bends and sounds as if he'll be lucky to last the distance. Stewart gets to grips with his new Quattro to achieve a time that moves him into the top 10. Neil Allport has seemed to be one of the crowd's real favourites. He's also on course for a good stage time, but is nevertheless still being headed by Reg Cook, the top Kiwi crew. Despite the counter-attraction of an international rugby match in Auckland between the All Blacks and the Australians, many people have taken the opportunity of venturing into the countryside to watch the principal motorsport event. Roll continues to lead. Salonen still holds second position, but now it's teammate Vartanen who has squeezed past the Quattro of Blomqvist to demote him to fourth position. Tankerton has dropped 7 minutes on the leader but still leads the conventional cars. A tremendous tussle is going on behind Cook and Mater, with Cook just leading despite spinning on the second stage into a crowd of spectators. Fortunately, injuries were confined to bruises. As the light begins to fade, there are only 3 more stages before the overnight halt back in Auckland. Roll has no problems. Salonen has narrowed the gap now to under 16 seconds. Vartanen managed a consistent run to finish the day in third place after a drama-free run. Blomqvist still held fourth place. Tankerton was in fifth. Again, no problems had affected his day, unlike teammate Voldegaard, who managed a gearbox change in stage 2 and continued almost an hour behind everybody else. 6th, 7th and 8th places were held by Cook, Mater and Stewart respectively. Completing the top 10 at the end of day 1 were the 2 Mazda RX-7s with Neil Allport and Stuart Hare. Paul Adams was holding on to his Group A lead, but Possum Bourne had dropped back after incurring a minute penalty for jump-starting at stage 5. The second leg will take the rally south and east to finish in the hot spring resort of Rotorua. The sunshine of the first day was replaced by dark clouds and the threat of rain as Salonen came into service before the opening stage. A 3-kilometre all-tarmac blast around the industrial estate and Manukau City.
Only 16 seconds behind Walter. What are the plans today?
I do my best. I try very hard to catch him, but it's not difficult, not very easy.
Now, what are the stages like today compared with yesterday's?
Few short Mickey Mouse stages, but then normal, they are good, very good.
Do you think they will suit the Peugeot better than the Audi?
I don't think so, because they are about same like yesterday, and Audi was also very fast.
Vartanen comes in right behind him whilst he wanders off to chat with an expatriate Finnish spectator. Co-driver Terry Harriman provides that despite the early hour, he's wide awake. The mechanic was unaware he was about to send the Peugeot out with 3 slick tyres and 1 forest tyre. In the Audi camp across the road, anxious eyes were cast skyward. Tyre choice would be critical, certainly if it rained after the first slips were fitted. They compromised with a neat intermediate pattern. Whilst nothing was expected to be proved over the 3-kilometre tarmac stage, Salonen had the psychological advantage of beating Roll by 1 second and proving he meant business. No one was taking chances, however, as over-exuberance could result in banging the ever-present curbs and wrecking an axle. The real meat of the rally got underway a short while later in the Maramarua Forest complex north of Huntly. Roll still held first position, although once again Salonen beat him by a scant second to nip away at his lead. Despite a puncture on the previous forest stage, RE2 was extending the gap between himself and Blomqvist, with Malcolm Stewart getting more and more in tune with his Quattro. It looked as if the four-wheel drive cars would race off into the distance. Certainly, with rain threatening and about to fall in earnest, this would further increase their advantage. As expected, Umar Kankinen and Salika were the closest challengers, but the gap between them and the leader was now 10 minutes. Allport had the pleasure of beating Cook on this stage to narrow the gap to 1.5 minutes. With the rain falling heavily on the smooth gravel stages, not unlike those found on Finland's Carlton Lakes Rally, it became increasingly slippery. The later runners battled on, concerned only with their own personal problems. In the most appalling conditions, the Peugeots used their superior handling to the fullest to knowingly beat the Quattros. Roll had overshot a corner in the earlier Mystery Creek stage and stalled. The delay, plus a string of fastest times for Salonen, dropped Roll to second place. Allport surprised many with the 6th fastest time on this stage, and proving that a lot of spectators were only waiting for him. And after he was through, they dutifully marched off the stage. 51 crews survived the second leg, but not Shecker and Yvonne Meta, who lost so much time with engine problems in stage 20, they decided to retire rather than carry on at the back of the field. For Toyota, the rally was turning into a disaster when first Voldegaard retired on day 1, then on the Mystery Creek stage, Kankinen broke the differential and dropped 42 minutes, effectively putting him out of the running. The third day of the New Zealand Rally dawned bright and sunny as crews tackled a further 12 stages, totalling just over 250 kilometres in the huge forest complexes around the spa town famous for its hot springs and mud pools. It was this section on last year's event that effectively decided the result. Bay of Plenty stages providing too much for some crews. It remained to be seen if the same would happen this year. Kankinen is still making up ground from the previous night. No chance of catching the leaders, of course, but an opportunity to undertake valuable testing for their next World Championship event in Finland.
So how many cars have you passed this morning, Fred?
No. Just three. Three stages, three cars.
So what's the object of the exercise today?
To pass as many cars as possible, because we've got a bet going with Paul Adams that we can pass more than he can. He's even further back.
On a sharp morning, Timo Salonen prepares to set off on the final leg of 13 stages back to Auckland. His lead is 1 minute 43 seconds. His car had been running perfectly, and he's full of confidence as he eases the Peugeot off the ramp through the dark Rotorua streets en route for the first of the day's stages. Volterol, who had driven his heart out, knows only a maximum effort again will keep his hopes alive. Spirits in the Peugeot camp are high, and why not? Vartinen has moved inexorably closer to Roll, and he has a look in his eye that could spell trouble for the Audi. Blomqvist, by his standards, is not driving well and admits he has no chance of catching Ari. The gap to Stewart behind him, 43 minutes. Leg 4 takes the drivers north again through 13 stages and back to Auckland. On the first of the 13 stages, Vartinen beats Roll by 29 seconds and holds joint second billing. On the next, another 7 seconds gained moves him into clear second, just under 2 minutes down on teammate Salonen. By this, the 38th stage, he's nearly half a minute clear of Volterol. Paul Walter has to drive this stage with a wasp in the car. Malcolm Stewart, after 3 consecutive years finishing as second resident Kiwi, looks like achieving one ambition, to be the first local home. And now that he has the four-wheel drive at his disposal, his dream is turning into reality. Inky Tulloch has been dreaming too. The thought of finishing in Auckland has upset his equilibrium, but it's his pride which is more dented than his car. Despite a loss of some 3 minutes, he holds on to his 5th place and leading rear-wheel drive car. Possum Bourne squeezes past the temporarily stranded car, but Inky is soon away again, and by the next stage is going as fast as ever. Reg Cook was 6th overall last year and must improve by 2 places to better this, a hopeless task with 60 minutes road penalties against his name. Tony Teasdale, the current New Zealand champion, has 10 minutes to make up to beat Bourne. On stage 39, Salonen takes his first fastest time of the day. He has no intention of letting Vartinen creep too far into that 2-minute zone. Roll is now almost a minute behind the flying Vartinen. Despite a mishap, there's still no change in the order. Mazda honours are now held by 10th placed Mike Montgomery. 3 places behind him comes Stuart Ayres' similar car.
No really team orders, but you know, common sense says that now we will hang on to the positions we have got.
So it's not Finn against Finn for the last few stages then?
No, because that would be very foolish. I'm nearly 2 minutes behind Timo, so if in 3 days if I haven't managed to catch him, I can't catch him over a few stages.
So have you enjoyed the rally?
Yeah, generally speaking, and it's getting better towards the end.
No problems with your car?
No, not at all. I hope it has a happy end.
Kankinen finally drops out on stage 39. He climbed up from last to 17th. Umar's Toyota failed to restart its engine after service and time ran out. Reg Cook manages to overhaul Inky Tulloch and takes 6th place in the dying moments of the event. Tulloch suffered from lack of power in the Escort. A fine drive by Jim Donald in the ex-Salonen 240 RS. He's been going quicker and quicker, consistently posting times just slower than Reg Cook. and hauling himself up to 9th place in the end. Possum Bourne takes the Group A prize and 8th overall in the Subaru. 5th overall and first New Zealand driver home, Malcolm Stewart, in his Audi Quattro. The rally has certainly been a tough way to learn how to get to grips with the power and traction of a four-wheel drive. But he had been equal to the task, and 5th place was a fine reward. Last year's winner, Stig Blomqvist, was 4th. Despite some aggressive driving, he hadn't been able to match the pace of the Peugeots, nor indeed of his teammate Walter Roll, who had finished 3rd.
Now we test high quality.
Walter rates the New Zealand rally as one of his favourites, and he had driven his heart out.
Number one at all the lights.
A brilliant drive by Ari Vartinen and Terry Harriman has them in 2nd place. Their times on the last day when they overhauled Roll were quite outstanding. They have broken a string of recent non-finishes. But far and away, the drive of the rally was Timo Salonen, who has proved his ability with some fine results of late, and now he has mastered the Peugeot 205. For years he has struggled with the Nissan 240 RS, and it is perhaps rewarding that he should win in New Zealand on a rally that he last won 5 years ago behind the wheel of a Nissan. The rally had proved a huge success with enthusiastic sponsors, superb stages and a high standard of organisation, all combined to produce one of the most popular events in the World Championship Series.